for adopting a formula to divide the local government fund amongst local municipalities begins with the state default. You mentioned that if we do not adopt an alternative formula, we will be forced into the state default formula. That would increase Lake County's share of the pie. I'm told by our budget manager we would get a minimum of twice what we currently collect. And given that it is ultimately a need-based process with budget hearings and evidence presented, that number could well be, as much as Trustee McIntosh suggested, a total third of the budget. But the commissioners felt it was important that we left this consideration to the cities, and we didn't impoverish our local municipalities by trying to take a larger share. So in Appendix A to the resolution, it clearly states that the county's share will remain at 10.8507%, which is exactly what the county has received in the past. We've confirmed that with our budget manager prior to this meeting. So the county is maintaining its current share, which, for the record, depending on how you calculate the county's share, we are either the lowest or second lowest percentage in the state of Ohio for what counties get from their local government fund. So I hope that this reflects the Commissioner's commitment to supporting all of our municipalities and running county government in a very conservative and fiscally responsible way. But once again, to Mr. McIntosh's point, to adopt an alternative formula rather than the state default, we have to, according to our prosecutor's office, have an approved alternate formula by about July, because the process to go through the budget hearings where we would determine need would take months to go through. And it's important to understand that the results of those budget hearings, which would be before the Budget Commission consisting of the county prosecutor, county treasurer, and county auditor, could then be appealed to the Ohio Board of Tax Appeals and litigated conceivably all the way to the Ohio Supreme Court or beyond. And in practical terms, this means if communities disagree about one another's need, it could hold up funding for local communities for years as those issues are ultimately litigated and determined. That may or may not be why all but one county in the state currently has adopted some form of alternate formula. So it would appear that our peer counties, our peer cities, townships, villages agree that the default is very hard to implement in practice. And while it might financially benefit the county proper, it would be a great imposition on the county as a whole. So that's the need for expediency in this process. It's not that anyone wants to ram through a particular formula. It's kind of a do or die situation. We either decide we're going to go with the default formula for a year, something that this county has not done in as long as I've been alive, or we adopt this formula with all due speed. And by we, I mean the commissioners have to vote to approve this formula. The largest municipality in Lake County, which is currently Mentor, has to vote to approve this formula. And then a majority of the remaining municipalities also, through their councils or boards of trustees, need to vote to approve this formula. And given that Lake County, as you can see in our beautiful map in the lobby downstairs, has a total of 23 municipalities, 23 minus Mentor means there are 22 municipalities that will ultimately have to have the same debate, discussion, and vote before the end of July-ish, or the alternate formula will not be adopted in time, and we're going to have to learn a whole new procedure, which is, as other counties have learned, fraught with litigation and disagreement just for this 1 year. So there is a great cost to delaying this decision. And ultimately, the commissioners cannot unilaterally adopt or decide that this formula is fair. We only really have the veto, to use Mr. McIntosh's words. We can say no, Mentor can say no, but unless if Lake County, Mentor, and a majority of remaining municipalities affirmatively vote, this will not happen. So realistically, we have to give every municipality time so they can go back to Willoughby, Timberlake, Concord, and decide whether or not to adopt this resolution. And I am confident that some communities will vote yes. I would not be surprised if others vote no, and I would not predict whether a majority of the 22 are going to vote yes or no. This is a local community decision, and every community needs to decide for themselves if they want to make this 10-year commitment phased in over time. But I want to concur with my colleagues that regardless of the outcome of this process, I am deeply grateful to and impressed by the people who gave so much of their time to address this very important issue, because debating how the local government fund is divided in Lake County is a bread and butter issue for our cities, villages, and townships. It makes a huge difference to the provision of safety services, to the paving of our roads, the care and the safety of our residents. So this was a very important endeavor, and I know that many of you, including Commissioner Hammercheck, Mayor Marra, Mayor Fiala, Trustee McIntosh, and dozens upon dozens of others have given a lot of their time and their talent to this process. So regardless of the outcome, I want to express thanks to all of you for having this hard debate and representing your communities. I really do believe that if we, and Trustee McIntosh will laugh here, he's heard me say this before, if we look back on world history, there are 3 instances where leaders have come together to compromise and lead their communities. First, the Magna Carta. Second, the U.S. Constitution. And third, the 2024 alternate formula for Lake County and its local government fund. Because it is that kind of a process. This is like the Constitutional Congress. People are coming from different communities with vastly different interests. The Constitution was not adopted with unanimous fanfare. In fact, some would only vote for it if they believed there would automatically be amendments to it, if they believed that the Bill of Rights would pass. And we know that Thomas Jefferson, as the author of the Bill of Rights, was not in support of the Constitution without knowing it would be amended immediately after it was adopted. So this is, whether it passes or fails, an imperfect compromise, but I want to put emphasis on the word compromise. This has been an incredibly difficult process for all of our local leaders, and I really stand in awe of Mayor Marra, Mayor Fiala, Trustee McIntosh, and the hard work that they have all done together. And I want you to know that your residents and your neighbors have similar gratitude for you as well. Any further discussion, gentlemen?
On the issue of amendments, I think we should emphasize in the future, if there are any changes, it is statutorily prescribed as the method by which things would take place. That is encapsulated, captured here in the body of our resolution, the revised bill reference. So there is a process, but that would be after the 10-year mark. And now the only amendment would be, I believe, Metro Parks is the big outstanding.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Rutledge.
Yes.
Commissioner Fletchman.
Yes.